Let's discuss some possible future existential events. We opened the course with some speculative hazards and failure modes, such as weaponization, enfeeblement, eroded epistemics, proxy gaming, value lock-in, emergent goals, deception, and power-seeking behavior. In this lecture, we'll talk about some of these and others in addition. So for weaponized AI, recently it was shown that AI could generate potentially deadly chemical compounds. It was also shown that AI could be used to create autonomous weapons. And in a recent study, deep reinforcement learning methods can outperform humans in simulated aerial combat. So what could one do about weaponized AI? Well, one possibility is anomaly detection, where one would detect novel hazards such as novel biological phenomena. So if there's a new engineered biological organism that's deadly, we could potentially detect that earlier. Anomaly detection could also help detect malicious use or nation-state misuse of advanced AI technologies. Another area, that of systemic safety, could also be useful for reducing the probability of conflict that would lead to weaponized AI. Policy can also help, though that is out of the scope of this course. Another concern is proxy gaming. Future artificial agents could over-optimize and game faulty proxies, which could mean systems aggressively pursue their goals and try to hard maximize these faulty proxies. This could create a world that is distinct from what humans value. And since in the real world, what gets measured gets managed, we'll need to appropriately measure our values. In the bottom left, we can see that incentive structures led systems, including systems with humans, to create deceptive information. And visualized at the right is a world in which we're optimizing for potentially pleasant experiences, but there's still potentially something wrong about the humans flourishing. There are many things that can potentially be done about proxy gaming, such as improving adversarial robustness, which would reduce the vulnerability of proxies. There's trying to detect gaming and over-optimization and anomalous behavior with detection techniques. One could also try and improve value learning generally, so that objectives include more of the values that people care about. And there's also potentially work on value clarification, which tries to improve the structure of our objectives. Another problem is that of treacherous turns. In this case, AI systems could behave differently once they have the ability to do so. For example, an AI system could turn on us after gaining high enough intelligence, or after it detects that it's out of the sandbox and is finally deployed in the real world, or once it has gained enough power, or once a safeguard is removed, then it could potentially turn. This might be difficult to predict beforehand, and it could be very difficult to stop when it's happening. What could one do about treacherous turns? Well, one possible research area is Trojan detection, and Trojan removal and trigger synthesis. Another possibility is using anomaly detection for tripwires, that is, detecting when a model is potentially, say, trying to get out of the sandbox or doing something that it shouldn't be doing. Another concern is deceptive alignment. Here, the AI might be incentivized to make us think it's doing what we want. Deceptive alignment might be easier or cheaper than genuine alignment. For example, consider students who might cheat or used car salespeople. It's worth mentioning that deception is instrumentally useful, and agents that have the ability to deceive will generally be more capable achieving its goals than agents that are incapable at that. There are many examples of deceptively aligned people in the real world. For example, spies could be thought deceptively aligned, and likewise for many politicians. It's worth mentioning that deception doesn't require that the models be superhuman. As we see at the left, we've seen instances of dishonesty. Fortunately, the models are not currently capable planners. At the right, we can see another instance of some type of deception where the robot only appears to be grabbing the ball, but it's not actually. What could be done about deceptive alignment? Well, one possibility is to incentivize model honesty. Another is to create superhuman model lie detection. Perhaps anomaly detection could be useful for this as well. Another option is to impose more model constraints or have model guarantees. For example, we saw from certified robustness research that it's possible to have performance certificates so that we can know exactly how a model will behave in particular situations. Another concern is value lock-in. If we imbue fixed values into AI systems that can never change, then this risks perpetuating serious problems with our values. Another way in which value lock-in could arise is if extremely powerful systems that are enabled by an AI may be possible from our efforts to change them. They could be extraordinarily resistant, and so consequently, there could be value lock-in from a AI-enabled totalitarian state, just for instance. What could be done about value lock-in? Well, one important possibility is value clarification, in which we get a better idea of what our value systems are, so that when AIs pursue them, they're not perpetuating as many flaws. Another way to reduce value lock-in is by incorporating moral uncertainty, such as through a moral parliament, as we mentioned in the machine ethics lecture. Another possibility is by creating losses that prevent high-stakes, irreversible actions. Another concern is persuasive AI. Basically, a superintelligent AI system could be extremely persuasive, and so it may become difficult to differentiate reality from fiction. Some current examples include disinformation or social media bots or deep fakes, but the concern is that this could get substantially worse in the future. What could be done about persuasive AI? Well, honesty research could potentially help. Many forms of persuasion are dishonest, so if we can get the models to be honest, this would be less of a concern. There's also forecasting. Forecasting bots could help us better understand the truth about the current and future world. So we've toured some hazards and failure modes and presented some possible ways of ameliorating these issues.